very lucky to have in our Curious Grace family Rosemary Gattuso, who is a wonderful family mediator and family conflict support person. Rosemary, I'm going to ask you 3 questions for the uninitiated. For those guys who are thinking, we'd like to go into the Curious Grace experience, but we're not sure. So I'm going to ask you first, what is it about family dynamics that people need to know about if they're going to think about that as part of their drop-in centre Curious Grace model?
I think one of the first things for me is about this idea that everything in families that happens is really offering valuable clues as to that family's experience, and rather than, say, put a label on what's happening or what's not happening or what's presenting, being able to just be curious and use what is happening as a way to really put in place the best supports for that particular family. So in just that very subtle reframing from labeling or behaviour issue to really, this is a clue for the practitioners or community to really best support the family.
Yeah, so the follow-on from that is, why and how can the people who are, in presenting terms, maybe in conflict with each other, be able to find a resolution by staying open to not really knowing how to find that solution, but they are staying in relationship with each other and exploring new possibilities? Can you tell us a bit more about how you like to work with that kind of dynamic?
Well, I think first acknowledging that every family is different and has different dynamics, and nothing's normal, but everything's also normal, is also important. And so perhaps some reassurance to families that, what you're experiencing and happening is completely normal, or even though it might not feel like normal, it's okay. So that, reassurance can be quite helpful.
We're all crazy. We've all got trouble happening in our lives. So just relax about that, everyone. And now we can find ways forward together, especially if we drop our sense of fear or shaming and blaming and losing face, whatever people may have a worry about. If we can get them to stop worrying and start listening better to each other, then we're on the way to healing.
And I mean, as a mediator, I noticed that when families presented, or parents, I guess it was because there was a problem. So already the focus is that there is an issue and that we haven't been able to do it ourselves and we need support. So there's already that deficit being presented. So, how do we reframe that? Well, it takes courage to actually take that first step, because not everyone, has the ability or the strength to actually step forward and say, what's happening isn't working. Maybe there's someone out there who can help us move forward in a more appropriate way.
Thank you for that. And I think in my own family experience, I've got 2 middle-aged sons now who both had lots of times when they felt that no one loved them, and that especially me as their father was to blame for things they weren't happy about in life. But really, by simply repeating, we love you, and we also don't know what's happening. It's okay if we keep talking to each other and hearing each other, that we'll find a new way. So I think the next step for our concern about how do we help other groups think about Curious Grace for the future is what are the essentials they need to be able to open the door and say, yep, families are welcome here, even when trouble is happening, because we want to value their lived experience and honour each person equally, but help them to find a path towards reconciling.
Well, I think to start, it helps to be family friendly. And I mean, what does that mean? So that could mean that there's daytime options and nighttime options, that there's less emphasis on what's happening that's wrong, and more emphasis on the possibility and the hope rather than the despair. So that's also about that. And also education, information, putting it out there that, you know, it's available, it's an option, it's there, and it's non-judgmental.
That's great. I think your strength-based approach really shines through, and that's part of what we want everyone who buys into the Curious Grace journey to know, that we focus on the positive, we have an attitude of gratitude for everyone who comes, and that everyone is equally valued. So thank you so much, Rosemary. It's wonderful to have you advising us. And as we say to all other newcomers, we will be on the line to chat to people if they want to talk further before they get to that stage. And if they want some training and development of their team, that's the kind of thing we would be hoping to offer in preparation for them to open their doors.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.